Welcome back to the social class, dear students. Today we are going to start lesson number 2 from economics. So the first lesson economics we saw was money, savings and investment, right? So now we are going to start a new lesson from economics, public and private sector. So this is your first class and page number is 238 from your textbook. So learning objectives. So what are else we are going to learn from this lesson? So we are going to know the history of public sector, okay, and to know the various indicators of socio-economic development, and we are going to understand the importance of public sector and appreciate the difference between public and private sector. So we are going to learn what are the difference between public sector and private sector, and the last one is to understand the functions of private sectors. So two kinds of sectors we are going to see, one is public, another one is private, right? Okay, we'll just go to the lesson. Introduction. India was basically an agrarian economy with a weak industrial base at the time of independence. So at the time of independence, so our country was basically an agrarian economy. Agrarian is nothing but depending upon agriculture. The main occupation of our country was agriculture, right? So agrarian is nothing but agriculture, okay. So we were depending upon the income from agriculture only, okay. And we are very weak in industrial base. There were high level of poverty, illiteracy and unemployment in the country. So during those period, high level of poverty was there. நிறைய பேர் என்ன பண்ணாங்க, வேலை வாய்ப்பு இல்லாமல் இருந்தாங்க, சரியா, வறுமையில் இருந்தாங்க, வேலை இல்லாமல் வறுமையில் இருந்தாங்க, வறுமை தான் poverty, okay. Illiteracy, many were uneducated, okay, and many were unemployed, நிறைய பேருக்கு வேலை இல்லாமல் இருந்தது, okay, in our country. India experienced very poor economic and social overheads. So because of all of these, our India were facing very poor economic and it was not ahead in society. It is principally for these reasons that the state had to play an extensive role in developing the country. So in order to develop the country, each and every state has to play an extensive role, right? Hence, India conceived to have the Indian economy on socialist lines. So, it decided to have Indian economy in the socialist line. The economic growth may be sustained at a maximum rate. If private sector and public sector join hands, India followed mixed economy system that it is operated both by private enterprises and public enterprises. So, in order to improve the economic growth of our country, so our Indian government, okay, it started to join hand with private sectors, okay. So private sectors as well as public sectors, they both join hands and they made as a mixed economic system in order to operate both private enterprises as well as public enterprises. Now, public and private sector. There are all kinds of business organizations, small or large, industrial or trading, private owned or government owned in our country. These organizations affect in our daily economic life and therefore become part of the Indian economy. Since the Indian economy consists of both private owned and government owned business enterprises, it is known as a mixed economy, okay. So our country, okay, is having many kind of business, okay, either it may be small business or large business, industrial or trading, private sector or government sector. Government sector is called as only public sector, okay. All these organizations affect our daily economic life. Because of that, Indian economy has become the part of it. Since our Indian economy, both private owned and government owned business enterprises and those are called as what? Mixed economy. Okay, the government of India has opted for a mixed economy where both private and government enterprises are allowed to operate. So our government of India, they have operated, okay, they have opted for a mixed economy where both sectors, whereas public as well as private sectors operate each other. Okay, the economy therefore may be classified into two sectors, vice private sector and public sector. So Indian economy, the economy has been classified into two, one is public and another one is private. The public sector and the private sector are allotted their respective roles in promoting the economic welfare of all sections of the community. Public sector industries are under the ownership of government, whereas the private sector industries are under the ownership of private people. Public sector enables the full growth in an economy. Public sector is on service motive and the private sector is on profit motive. Okay, so here public sector and the private sector are allotted for separate roles, okay, respective roles in order to promote the economic welfare, okay, in our community. Public sector industries are owned by whom? Government, whereas private sector industries are owned by private people. Okay, so public sector enables full growth of economy and it is service motivated, okay, government sector, whereas private sector is what motivated? It is motivated towards profit. Got it? Okay. Mixed economy is the mixture of merits of both capitalism and socialism. Yes. Now they have given a chart in page number 239. So Indian economy. So Indian economy is divided into two, I told, right? One is public sector, another one is private sector. Here you could see in public sector, three different kinds of divisions they have given. One is departmental undertaking, statutory corporation, government companies. Got it? Next, coming to private sector. Sole proprietor, partnership, joint Hindu family, cooperative, company, multinational company. Got it? But companies are divided into two. One is public limited and another one is private limited. Got it? Yes. So we are going to see everything in detail. So now we'll see the definition of public sector. The sector which is engaged in the activities of providing government goods and services to the general public is known as public sector. So what is public sector? The sector which is engaged, this you have in short answer, okay. The sector which is engaged in the activities of providing government goods and services to the general public is known as what? Public sector. The enterprises, agencies and bodies are fully owned, controlled and run by the government, whether it is central government, state government or local government. So these kind of agencies or bodies are fully owned by whom? Government. Either it may be central government or state government or any local government. Got it? Yes. The sector which is engaged in the activities of providing government goods and services to the general public is known as what? Public sector. Got it? Yes. Next one is history of public sector. When India achieved independence in 1947, it was primarily an agricultural country with a weak industrial base, as we saw it earlier, okay. When we got independence, our dependence is completely upon what? Agriculture only, and we were very weak in industrial base also, isn't it? There were only 18 Indian ordnance factories in the country which the British had established for their own economic interest and ruled the subcontinent with brute force. So those time there were only 18 Indian ordnance factories, okay, which was created or established by whom? British people, for their own interest, for their own profit, they created it. Okay, and the subcontinent with brute force, they had a brute force on India. Got it? The national consensus was in favor of rapid industrialization of the economy, which was seen as the key to economic development, improving living standards and economic sovereignty. Building up the Bombay Plan 1940, which noted the requirement of government intervention and regulations, the first industrial policy resolution announced in 1948 laid down broad contours of the strategy of industrial development. Subsequently, the Planning Commission was formed by a cabinet resolution in March 1950 and the Industrial Act was enacted in 1951 with the object of empowering the government to take necessary steps to regulate industrial development. Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru promoted an economic policy based on import substitution, industrialization, and advocated a mixed economic system. He believed that the establishment of basic and heavy industry was fundamental to the development and modernization of the Indian economy. India's second five-year plan 1956 to 60 and the industrial policy resolution of 1956 emphasized the development of public sector enterprises to meet Nehru's national industrialization policy. His vision was carried forward by Dr. V. Krishnamurthy, known as the father of public sector undertaking in India. India's statistician Professor P.C. Mahalanobis was instrumental to its formulation, which was subsequently termed the Friedman-Mahalanobis model. Right. The 1991 industrial policy was radically different from all the earlier policies where the government was deliberating disinvestment of public sector and allowing greater freedom to the private sector. At the same time, foreign direct investment was invited from business houses outside India. Thus, multinational corporations which operate in more than one country gained entry into the Indian economy. Thus, we have public sector units, private sector enterprises and multinational corporations coexisting in the Indian economy. So, there are objectives of public sectors: to promote rapid economic development through creation and expansion of infrastructure, to generate financial resources for development, to promote redistribution of income and wealth, to create employment opportunities, to promote balanced regional growth, to encourage the development of small scale and ancillary industries, and to accelerate export promotion and import substitution. Okay, children, we'll just wind up to this. Next class, we shall start from public sector organization. Okay, thank you and take care.